This is The Gloves Are Off.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of The Gloves Are Off. I'm Moses Woldo and I'm pleased to be joined by my co-host Greg Buchanan, the voice of the CPCA. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, Moses.
Great. Well, disappointing last day in Dewberry, but some great close finishes.
Yeah, a couple of great days of racing Friday and Saturday. Rain came down after that second heat and got 3 heats in, and after that it was all over, but should be a good 4 days in Wainwright.
Yeah, and hopefully the weather will cooperate as well. And I'm also joined by Matt Schumont, Newcap Sports anchor and golf aficionado. Is that right?
I guess you could call me that. Thanks for having me back. It's always good to be on here.
That's awesome to have you, man. So we'll talk about the NHL draft, of course. If Edmonton Oilers have the first overall pick, potentially Nail Yakupov could be the guy going. If you were the Oilers, would you take him, or would you field offers to trade that pick and get immediate help?
See, for me, I don't really trust Russian hockey players, especially young guys in the draft, because they're going to get drafted. They're going to be cocky, especially #1 overall. The Oilers already have enough talent. I would say, why not shift that pick and maybe get like a top 4 defenseman, even a goalie, because Devin Dubnyk, he's almost there, but he's not quite there. So if you give him like a good starter, let him learn off that starter for a couple of years, I think he'd be set.
They have 3 of the best young guys in the game right now playing. You look down 3-4 years down the road, all of a sudden you're going to have 4 guys. You're going to be able to sign all 4. I'm thinking about down the road financially, it's just going to be a good deal to grab another top-end talent, a young guy. Probably not. You're going to have to figure, look at your offers out there. They're weak in the backhand, and yeah, in net they're even weaker. They need to shore up their backhand and get some veteran experience back there. You
mentioned grabbing 4 guys in there. It would be a little bit tough to keep them all together. The Pittsburgh Penguins seem to have that trouble a little bit. Jordan Staal might be the guy that might be heading out, and if they put all their eggs in one basket, it looks like they might do with Sidney Crosby once his contract is up. That's going to be tough. But would you rate Nail Yakupov as the #1 guy?
Yeah, you would, but I'm kind of going back on what I said. But you can't really trust a Russian. That's how I always see things. You can't trust a Russian. He's probably the best player in this year's draft, but that's what this draft class is. It's not really the best draft class, out of several years where you had the Crosbys and the Doughties and the Stamkoses. So.
The top 5 look pretty good. After that, it's anybody's bet. Yeah, he's probably the best talent out there. Will he go #1? Will the Oilers pick him? They're going to have to wait and see. But Yakupov is by far the best skilled player in the draft right now, and I can't see anybody going #1 over top of him if he does go 1.
Well, Toronto Maple Leafs have the 5th overall pick, and they're definitely looking to trade up. They definitely want some players as well. But we'll talk about the trade talks. Will we see a big trade come Friday? Very much like last year when we saw the huge deal with Carter and Richards.
Yeah, I don't know. With the whole Hartnell-MacArthur tournament going on last year, it was Braden Shen who got traded. Maybe Luke Shen might get traded this year as well. You don't know. There could be a big trade, but that's the beauty of the NHL. There's always that big trade talk, but we'll have to see come tomorrow.
There's so much, look at the trading deadline. There's a certain network that goes on at 4 in the morning and is on until 5 in the afternoon, all for 8 trades. There's so much trade talk all the time and so much hype over it. By the end of the day, there's not much to it. It'd be interesting to see, though, because there are some big names that could be dealt and a lot of big guys that want out. Will they get out? Oh, I'll have to wait and see.
But it seems like draft day is the new trade deadline because you look at all the deals that have happened recently, they do involve trading up, like the Toronto Maple Leafs. You know that they're going to be looking for a goalie. Potentially Vancouver's got a few available, like Roberto Luongo. You also got Nashville, who's got a top forward in Rick Nash that's also available via some type of trade. Out of those 2 guys I just mentioned, which one's more likely to go tomorrow, or I guess it would be on Friday?
I'd probably say Rick Nash. I think Luongo, I thought at the beginning they would trade Luongo, but with his contract and how high that is, who's going to want to take that contract? So I could probably see Rick Nash either going to a team like the Rangers or maybe the Sharks, or his top 2 teams that he wants to go to. But out of both those guys, I'd probably say Nash is probably the likely to go.
Now, Vancouver takes a lot of the hit for Bobby Lou's contract. Bobby Lou may go. If Vancouver decides they don't want to take that much of a hit on it and they want to dump that contract, then he's not going anywhere anytime soon. I think Nash might go on draft day.
All right. Well, you know you got some great players that will definitely be available. Toronto actually looking into Jordan Staal, the recent rumors out there. But moving on, let's talk about the LA Kings. Definitely a great run for them. I know you're very happy about that. But what do you make of Jonathan Quick's little speech? It was
that
a little
was something.
funny.
Somebody should have jumped on the grenade. One of his teammates should have jumped on the grenade, tackled him, took the mic away from the poor guy. What I heard is Jonathan's a very quiet, soft-spoken guy for the most time. Yeah, it sounds like he was probably out a few hours. And a few hours on top of that.
Sounded like it.
And probably hasn't slept since they won and probably had a few beverages in him. And yeah, they probably should have just had him stay at the back, be quiet, Jonathan. But somebody gave him the mic, and that person that gave him the mic should be the person apologizing.
At the same time, though, you got to remember this team's in LA, so they're not used to all this TSN and all the Canadian TV markets down there. Plus, he just won the Stanley Cup in Conn Smythe, so you know, he did look like he was still having a little bit of fun from nights ago. But what can you do? He's a happy guy. But yeah, it's kind of weird seeing the quietest guy on the team probably with such foul language.
I've been part of a couple of championships, a couple of Allen Cups, and yeah, there's a few times that you kind of wish that somebody would jump on the grenade when a player is talking to the media after a few bubblies. And yeah, Jonathan Quick, unfortunately, it's going to live forever on YouTube.
Yeah, well, it's certainly a fun time. I can't. Well, I would say you can't really blame him, but it was. I certainly laughed at it, and I'm sure there was a couple shocked parents with children making sure they covered their ears. But let's move on to the CBA. A lot of talk that the season for the NHL will be delayed. Hopefully not like we had a few years ago with the lockout for the entire year. But do you see them coming together and getting the season starting by October?
No, I don't think so. You know, as it looks right now, NHL has basically told the Players Association they're going to scrap the current agreement, completely throw it out in September. That means they have to rework everything. That's not going to happen overnight. There's so many different angles they have to work on, those long-term contracts. There's so many of those long-term contracts that they have to get rid of. And yeah, it's going to be a battle.
Yeah, I don't see this, which is unfortunate, because I was going to go to LA and watch the banner being raised. So I guess I'll have to wait a little while. But yeah, like Bucky said, I can't see the season getting started anytime soon.
All right, well, we'll end off on that note. We'll take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with more Gloves Are Off.